the day, it's going to be one last best of 3. I hope you guys have enjoyed the cast. You know, it was a long day, 10 best of 3s. Good times. But Pig and Rifkin coming at you with the final games here for Group C. Spawning in the top central spawn location, we've got the Blue Zerg player. He's back. It's ByuL.
And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom center of Varney Research Station. It is Classic.
Alright, so this is a rematch, as you noted, but we didn't get to cast it the first time around. In fact, that was done on the ESL mainstream, and then we swapped over at the winners match. Who actually won the first one? I guess it was Classic, right?
Yes, because we just watched ByuL play the losers match there.
Logic.
And
well
it was
done.
a very close match, but the game 3 was very decisive from Classic. Came in with a bigger depth pressure. ByuL tried to defend it with just speedlings and basically got torn apart. So it was really decisive in that final game. ByuL just kind of wasn't fully prepared for the depth pressure. So interesting to see how this one plays out. It's going to be a Nexus first opening for Classic. Was favoring that, of course, against Dark as well.
You know, generally speaking, there's this bit of a bracket group curse. Do you know about this?
Not exactly, no.
So it's something we noticed on Base Trade TV because we cast so many different various, groups and brackets. But this became really obvious with DreamHack groups too. Usually, the rematch will almost always go in the favor of the other guy. So, like, if Classic won the first time around, ByuL will probably win this final best of 3.
Oh yeah.
It's not a 100% thing, but it is actually seriously like a 9 times out of 10 thing if you go back and look at all the groups. We actually took like a half-hour in stream to break it down, look at like the previous 3 dream hacks, and kind of find every instance that happened in, and it was like more often than not. It was crazy.
It's actually insane how much players can adjust and learn throughout their series, and sometimes the player who gets the edge of the other players kind of surprise them in the earlier set, but they kind of run out of surprise builds or plays. And
how? How?
just as he was crossing the map, he was rubbing a bar of soap on himself furiously the whole time. This Zergling, man.
There's not just a zealot in the wall, but also a probe. That's what I don't get.
Slippery Zergling.
I'm falling apart for the last game, Pig. I can't handle it. I feel like I'm hallucinating. Like, did that really just happen?
Gets to spot the Stargate, being super annoying here. It puts on a lot of pressure to Classic and eventually force some mistakes. Of course, behind this, there's been quite a fast third hatchery from ByuL. Oh, ByuL, making me so happy. Not going for Overlord speed. Just, pulling 2 guys off gas, droning up like a madman. Adding queens. This is what I love to see, that strong economy play from ByuL. And this is going to allow him to play a little bit safer, about a minute or 2 down the track, because he has been so much more efficient with his early minerals. Of course, having seen that Stargate, he knows there's Phoenix on the way. His Overlord has spotted that. And yeah, it's like a good spot for ByuL so far.
Well, that's what's going to be nice about having all those extra minerals. Potential to make a lot of extra queens. I think that, unfortunately, regardless of what type of Stargate it is, like apparently it's Phoenix, by the way, a lot of default in everyone's brain is like Hydras are the anti-air, but in low numbers, Phoenix swoop on top of them. In high numbers, like Void Rays can actually take on Hydralisk. Like, Queens really are the best anti-air, and a lot of it has to do with their transfuse.
Yeah, they're so meaty, they just don't go down quickly. They don't have an armored or a light tag. They're simply a psionic unit, which means they don't take bonus damage from things like Phoenix or Void Rays. So they don't have a real weakness, except for the fact that their damage output is quite low.
Is there anything in the game that does bonus damage to psionic?
No. Nothing at all.
Interesting.
Of course, Archons do bonus damage to Queens because they have a bonus to biological.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Of course, a second Stargate has gone down here for Classic. He's building 2 Phoenix at a time, and hashtag Roddy build +1 air weapons is on the way for those Phoenix. Of course, that's going to allow them to 4-shot rather than 5-shot Hydralisks if Hydras do come into play.
It'll be nice to see, but I'm wondering just if how deep the Phoenix will go versus what the transition ends up being. Because while I get really excited to see air upgrades and I start thinking of like the later Tampa's, carriers, whatever, sometimes the games that we have 16 plus Phoenix in, they just end up looking so cheesy and so good.
Yeah, I mean, cheese is one of my favorite foods, and Protoss players have been known to love a bit of a fondue party once in a while, but I think on this map, carriers is definitely going to be the eventual aim. I don't know about 16 Phoenix, but definitely at least 10 or 12, bare minimum if you're getting that upgrade.
Cheese used to be my favorite too, and then became lactose intolerant.
Are you serious? Or
yeah, actually, I used to seriously drink like a gallon of milk like a day type thing, and then I think it was like when I turned 20, I kind of started getting sick from it.
Oh no, yeah, that can happen like from overexposure to it as well.
Yeah, well, I definitely drank way too much.
Oh, that sucks,
For
man.
sure.
Dairy's the best. Anyway, it looks like these Zerglings are going to clean up that at depth. Actually, no. That's going to micro around a little bit. His friends might come up and join it. Phoenix, lift me. Lift me. Does manage to take out those
a
Zerglings.
strong, independent woman who don't need no Phoenix. Up to 7 kills, not bad. Phoenix count up to 10, by the way, and he's still making them.
Nice. Picks up the Queen, takes it out. Continuing to do some really good damage here is classic. Fleet Beacon is down behind this. And yeah, this is just Phoenix into carriers. Overlord's starting to go down here in the main base. In a whole bunch of roaches got built by ByuL, but there's just no use for them right now.
So,
ByuL is taking so much damage.
One of the things we're seeing is just how inefficient one Spore Crawler can be. There was a long period of time where Zerg players were putting 2 Spore Crawlers down specifically for Phoenix interaction, but dang, that was how many Overlords was that? 7 Overlords went down, Pig.
Especially against 2 Stargate Phoenix, you've got to put 2 Spores of Mineral Iron. That would have, at least killed a couple of those Phoenix, but now all the Phoenix are still alive, 12 of them, able to come back in constantly. Overcharge here is to try and defend these Roaches. That's actually a good Roach count. The Phoenix are going to have to come back to defend, so...
He's got the energy to lift him up, too. This isn't going to be a dire situation for him at all.
Yeah. Oh, man. ByuL looking a little bit helpless here. I'm kind of wishing he just went for a Queen Roach Nidus. That's the one situation where, oh, you're taking so much damage when you pop out in their base and on the potential.
I don't think he intended to pick up his own probe, as cool as that was. So, following this up, yeah, the extra Stargate comes down, the Fleet Beacon's there, cool. Maybe it's carriers, maybe it's whatever. The problem is, we do have that situation where, you're picking up Hydras. They're going to be getting killed. They're light units. Phoenixes do all that nice bonus damage. You point out the plus weapon upgrade helps shoot them down a little bit faster. And the worst part is they don't consolidate very well. You usually get like 2 Hydras coming from this hatchery, 2 Hydras from that hatchery, and they're not all together. But if they are, then maybe they can deal with the Phoenix. But this is not a situation where I think Classic's too pressured to kill the Hydras, because the carriers will do that. He just has to keep himself safe until the carriers are out and ready to fight.
Yeah, those first 3 carriers are on the way. Cannons starting to be massed down here at that 3rd base. Focusing on just protecting the ramp for now. It's a good way to do it. Overcharge is going to keep those probes alive. The Phoenix camping between those mineral lines. Going to dive on the Hydras in the main base. Going to take them down. He's going to lose 1 Phoenix, but gets about 4 or 5 Hydras for it. A good trade there for Classic. Taking these small skirmishes, this is where you can micro the Phoenixes effectively. Losing the odd Phoenix here or there, not that bad. Whereas if you go into a pitched battle against 30 Hydralisks, it's so hard to actually make use of your Phoenixes. So this is really good, just picking off these Hydras when they're spread apart, as you were pointing out, Rifkin. And those first 3 carriers are almost out. Plus 2 ship weapons is on the way. Does need to get the Graviton Catapult. That upgrade hasn't started yet for the carriers.
I don't know why that's not a default thing. I think it's so silly that you actually have to research that. Not that I'm trying to give carriers more power, but it is such a redundantly stupid upgrade.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that one being default either. Of course, I wouldn't mind Interceptors costing a little bit more money to compensate for it.
Yeah, just kind of like how Swarm Hosts, the Locust costs a lot of money, right? Or, wait, no, that's Broodlings that cost money. No, wait. Infested Terrans cost money, right? Which one am I thinking of here?
None of them cost money.
Oh, is that... Oh, okay.
It's literally only Interceptors.
Okay.
But Interceptors are a lot better than Infested Terrans or Locusts or anything like that.
I mean, I'm hoping everyone's fully aware of the satire there, but anyway.
I don't even know what the shit you're satirizing, man.
I'm saying, for someone to complain about the units being a little too cheap when you've got free units out the wazoo from everything you make.
It's a little bit different, but nonetheless, I can accept where you're coming from. Graviton is on the way now. About to hit 6 carriers, and it looks like not neglecting the ground is going to be adding Storm and a Mothership as well behind this.
This is going to be really interesting to see how ByuL approaches this. We've actually seen very few players actually overcome the Golden Armada dilemma, so to speak. Like, in every instance of the game, whether it's this patch or the previous patches, once Protoss Air hit a certain point, Zerg can never really deal with it, and unfortunately, they still didn't get any tools that would help them with that now. That being said, the best thing I've seen so far was Scarlet's interaction with this. Lots of Spore Crawlers, lots of Abducts, lots of Queens.
Yeah, I think, you're not going to see anything special this game, to be brutally honest. ByuL's had a terrible first 7 minutes of the game. He's fallen way behind. So, this is the situation where people often see this Golden Armada and they go, oh, it's so broken, how do we stop that? And a lot of the time the answer is, well, don't have a horrible first 7 minutes of the game.
That's true, yeah.
The same as with many other styles. And that's kind of how Phoenix openings work, though. If you go for 2 Stargate Phoenix, it's very fast moving. It can deny scouting, especially if you do it staggered like this with 1 Stargate first and then a later hidden second Stargate. And as a result, you can surprise your opponent. And if they're not fully good at just kind of batting down the hatches and shutting down your aggression, you just spiral out of control. And look at the units lost tab. Like 2.5 times more effective Classic has been. These Phoenix just keep getting damage done. Up to a total of almost 30 workers killed over the game. And just turtling up behind that into carriers. And this is also a good map for that because there's only 1 attack path. Look at this. Baneling Zergling counterattack actually going to be coming in.
Now there's an Archon here. Wait,
Archon there.
Why is the Archon killing the Cyber Core?
Who's killing the Cyber Core to try and get out of the base. Force field goes down.
He was researching weapon upgrades and armor upgrades with it. He needed that.
Fourth base does get cancelled.
Sorry.
So this is pretty funny. All right, Graham, we're gonna lose you.
Yeah, we are. It's still like slow warp ins end up taking care of this. A little bit awkward. Phoenix is still dancing around the middle of the map. Honestly, not too bad losses. But so this is a problem now for a couple of different reasons. The Mothership is so hard to snipe. Even if you abduct, it recalls instantly. It's very difficult for Zerg players to remove that layer of detection, much less keep the Overseers or the Spore Crawlers numerous enough to survive the attack. I mean, Void Ray is going to melt anything they can hit. That hatchery dies in seconds flat, and the recall immediately afterwards.
Leaves the Zealots behind.
I don't know if that was intentional. I feel like that was not intentional.
I mean, he's getting charged, but, he's got to free up the supply for better units anyway, so it's not the worst decision, but it's kind of comical. Not the important units. The Zealots are the bottom rung of society. Actually, they just get thrown into battle.
That may have actually been intentional, just to free up the supply, because you'll notice he's replacing it with Archons and more Void Rays.
Still no Psystorm on the way. That's kind of a bit odd here. Does have how many Archons on there? We've got 4. Okay, so 4 Archons. Focus firing on the Corruptors will still do pretty decently. Those Corruptors flying in, looking for units popping out of those Stargates, but a bit afraid to go too deep.
They go with Caustic Spray if they found a building on the edge for free. Like, I think that Stargate is actually kind of vulnerable. He may have been able to kill it even. But the dynamic here is, like, Corruptors can dive in and do a considerable amount of damage to, like, 1 carrier every, 2 seconds is the attack speed? 1.5 seconds. Unfortunately, in that 1.5 second, the Void Ray prismatically aligns, and the Archons combined shred all the Corruptors. So it's really difficult to take an engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. ByuL coming in with some nice multi-prong, trying to outposition. These Hydras on the left, though, they're not going to get a lot done. The Phoenix are just going to pick all of those up. Every single Hydra goes down. He's going to lose a Stargate at home, is classic. But, yeah, I mean, ByuL's looking kind of desperate here.
So you mentioned, by the way, there's no Storms, but more importantly, there's no Templar left over for feedbacks. These Vipers actually have nothing to fear right now.
Yeah, I mean, there is a good amount of range on those carriers, and there's just a lot of units mixed in. Oh, nice Parasitic Bomb. Takes out a whole bunch of those Phoenix. Good cast there. Of course, the Phoenix aren't the most important unit right now anyway. Did he just kill his own Phoenix? I'm not sure, maybe. Either way, he needs more Void Rays in the mix, potentially some Storm as well. It's a very scary air army right now. Chargel's going to keep picking off the bases.
This is such a cool idea out of ByuL. I like this. The Ultralisks with their armor, they're not going to do well against the Void Rays of the Archons, but they can technically tank the hits of the Interceptors, and maybe the idea is run by. and run through to the other side? I'm not sure. Zealot's got the gold base, by the way, on the upper right side. Small little attack on the left side as well. Gets a couple of probe kills, but here's where the main engagement is going to go down. Parasitic Bomb only deals 60 damage. It's not that much. It's not that scary. All the Protoss units can tank this damage. They just fight right through it.
Yeah. There is just too much there in the sky for Classic. ByuL's army kind of caught between purposes. You know, there's just not enough units to fight the air units. The Hydras are almost useless in that composition. Way too many Ultras, way too many drones just filling up supply. ByuL was just too far behind this game. You know, Classic ran away with it from that early game. Those Phoenix got so much damage throughout, bringing the total workers killed now up to 55 with these charges still going ham in those places.
Classic is going to take game number 1. That Golden Armada, a little too scary. So yeah, I just want to point out there for those who haven't followed since beta, Parasitic Bomb used to stack once upon a time, and it would destroy everything. It was in fact so broken and so unfair. When they made it so it stopped stacking, yeah, it was only like the first iteration of the beta or whatever. When they made it stop stacking and took the damage down, like 60 damage, it's unavoidable damage, which kind of sucks. Like one unit's going to take that no matter what. But 60 damage does not one-shot any air unit in the game. Like it's not that bad to deal with. And Protoss have some of the beefiest, chunkiest air. I really think that Parasitic Bomb, like that was desperation. I don't think that was like, oh, I was planning to do that all along.
Yeah, he was in a pretty bad position. Couldn't really afford like the double spire upgrades. He needed, you know, great carapace upgrades to deal with the Void Rays, the Phoenix, and especially the Interceptors. Had a Hydras, which are just this really iffy unit for that late game situation. They're just not dense enough on supply, on damage output. They're way too fragile. So yeah, that's not the ideal position. He was kind of caught between goals there, where he was trying to have some anti-air because Classic was pushing in and sniping bases, so he felt like he was constantly threatened. But then he knew he couldn't actually win the front-on engagement. So he was kind of mixing in these ground units and these counterattacks. I would have loved to see ByuL have a cleaner build-up, a massing Lingbane Ultralisk, something like that, and just kind of ignore the air units and just constantly counterattack and run past. And because you're so much stronger in the base trade, keep Classic at home while you build an insane economy. Go double Spire Mass Corruptor or something like that. But from the situation he was in, ByuL never got the opportunity to do that. He was always on the back foot and did end up losing that game. Interesting statistic. After that game, ByuL is down 0-12 against Classic in their head-to-head record in maps. So Classic has never dropped a tournament map to ByuL in StarCraft 2.
Wait, I thought you mentioned he had dropped one earlier, didn't he, or no?
Yeah, actually. Sorry, Guy. Someone just told me that statistic, and I thought I double-checked it, but where I double-checked it, it hasn't been updated from today's results. So yes, he did drop his first map to him earlier today. So he's right now 13-1 or 15-1, I believe.
That's still pretty good. That's still very impressive, like, without a doubt. Oh wow.
So
quick pool.
All right, let's introduce these players. Over here on the right-hand side, it is ByuL.
Yeah, the pretty quick pool coming down. Left side, we got the Red Protoss Classic. I guess what's nice is I didn't pay attention to that series. I only paid attention to what you told me. So that's the only reason I knew that. But this pool is going to work out perhaps not too badly. Classic did put his first pylon on the low ground. And we talked earlier today about the necessity of this pylon. If this gets killed early, that can be game over. I've seen games end in 2 minutes and 37 seconds flat. Like, it's brutal how much an early pool can do, but he's not dedicating to this. And I think
this is really weird. Okay, so ByuL went for the hatchery before building Zerglings, and then only built 2 Zerglings. I'm not sure if this is a reaction to the fact that Probe Scout came in so early, or if this was his plan all along, but it has already influenced Classic's game plan, and that Classic has now chrono boosted out a Zealot, gone for a second pylon and a second gateway, has delayed any potential Nexus quite a bit. So perhaps already not a bad, a bad play from ByuL. Classic hasn't opened up crazily efficient, but really a very different opening. What we normally
happened
see.
Again. What?
To be fair, this time it's because that's a trash wall off.
It is
a really bad
you know
wall
what?
off from
You
Classic.
are right. It's just combined with what happened in game number 1. All right, so ByuL will get in here, and it's nice that these Lings will cause a bit of havoc. But with the depths on the way and the Mothership Core shortly out, they're not going to have that much longevity. Big Scout, though. He sees actually everything Classic is doing.
Interesting. So far, the gas is quite delayed here for ByuL. His Zergling speed's going to be very late, but yeah. Classic's just like chrono boosting out his units right now. He's got 2 Zealots and 2 Adepts on the map. He's going to clean up this Zerglings in his base. And he's going to dive across with a pretty nice early pressure. ByuL does have a 3rd hatchery down, but with Zergling speed not even started, 2 Adepts and 2 Zealots could really cause him a bit of trouble. There's even a Mothership Core here. Gonna potentially throw down a Pylon.
It's like the New Age Zealot Mothership Core Stalker Poke, but instead it's an Adept, I guess. Yeah, the Pylon actually gets in such a prime position just before the creep spread to it. Not sure if that'll be in range of the hatchery or not. That might just be on the very cusp of it. Of course, he's pulling back, trying to hope to get some shields back on those Zealots. Looks like it's not in range of the hatchery. Unfortunate. Still a point to just fall back to, though.
Great annoying strategy here from Classic. He's not looking to do insane damage. He just wants to really distract, do some damage, you know, force a lot of units out, delay some mining time. These Adepts being shut down pretty effectively here by ByuL. And ByuL's got to be happy at that, cleaning those up. Looks like the Mothership Core might be backing off as well. I would have liked that to stay and throw down one more overcharge there just to kind of increase the pressure. Because at the end of this now, ByuL does have a 3rd base finished, Zergling speed finishing up. And Classic's Natural has only just completed. So even though they're even on workers, I kind of feel like this is an okay spot for ByuL.
Yeah, I mean, the early pull like that is not exactly the most economic opener, but the fact that he didn't over-dedicate and play into it certainly gives him a lot of wiggle room here. A lot of Lings darting across the map. Well, there goes my brain. But with 3 Adepts on this wall, I don't think they're going to break in anytime soon. ByuL's also not in position to try and make any sort of drop overlord. These are sadly not going to accomplish much.
Spores are going down in the main and natural. None in the 3rd just yet. He does see the Oracle, so he will need to drop that Spore Crawler in the 3rd momentarily. And there we go. It does go down. Is also going to need to build a few more Zerglings. This is 5 Adepts. You can't underestimate the power of this, but ByuL is actually supply blocked right now. If it wasn't for that supply block, he could really just shut these Adepts down right away. They do not have attack speed. Combined with the Oracle, though, they're going to be very scary. And now that they've got a chance to gain position, this becomes very frustrating for ByuL to deal with.
Well, the Oracle's adding in what it can with the Adepts, but it's a little bit low in energy, and it's not going to be around for too much longer. In fact, it's low in health, too, which always feels bad, but the Adepts get cleaned up, and so far, Classic's attacks have been not perfectly deflected, but not able to do much.
Yeah, just a little bit lackluster, the aggression coming out of Classic, and once again, you know, 3 bases mining for ByuL up against Classic's 3rd just starting, but Classic's got a Void Ray out. He's got that Oracle out. As long as he keeps that alive, that is going to be able to be recycled, be used over and over again as it regenerates energy. And the Evolution Chamber has just started for ByuL. Overlord speed still not done. So ByuL is definitely behind in that tech. And, you know, even in workers. So I got to say, I guess Classic at the end of this comes out in a pretty decent spot. Both players reasonably even. Kind of hard to call someone as ahead, but I might give the edge to Classic just because of those air units, which give him so much map control and value.
Yeah, actually, what I like about the Void Ray, okay, on one hand it cleans up the Overlords, sure, but the fact that he can just infinitely attack the Lings, Oracle just kind of revelations in the main, not really trying to accomplish too much.
Lair still has so you know, Classic's probably getting an idea that that tech is very late right now for ByuL. ByuL actually starting a drop Overlord on the middle of the map, just outside his own rally.
Is he going to carry some Queens off creep?
Could be a big Ling Bane attack, but I mean, this is such a weird timing to do this.
He's bringing the Queens with him, man. This is dedicated.
Okay, there's no Glaives. Is there a Mothership Core? Yep, there's a Mothership Core with a lot of energy. There's not a lot of pylons on this 3rd base, though. He needs more pylons. Classic.
It's low on
right
health.
Now. Oh man, this is such a bizarre timing for this attack to come. The
Gets
Oracle
on top
is
of the
scouting,
sentries.
but oh man, the Zergling's diving on in there. Needs this overcharge to back this up. I do think Classic should be able to hang on here, especially with that Void Ray now. Yeah, the Void Ray puts a timer on this. ByuL needs to either commit or get out of there.
Well, so I mean, maybe it doesn't though, because that's where the 4 queens come into play, right?
Yeah, wants to get over here. Okay, they are here now.
Surprise, mother trucker! He's gonna pick up some of the banelings too. Look to drop those maybe on top of the sentries. I mean, the queens are so slow off creep. The Overlord's actually a lot faster. It's a much speedier way to use them. Mothership Core's in the red. Void Ray's in the yellow. This doesn't look good.
Baneling's in that mineral line. I think that pylon's going to go down very soon. Lots of sentries here. Maybe even too many. Classic really loving his sentries today.
He's going to drop the Overlord. He's going to drop the Banelings on top of the sentries.
Oh, nice drop there. Most of the sentries go down. The third base still has a few cannons alive on it. More adepts are warping in.
Let's get out of here. It's the getaway driver, Pig.
I mean, I think this is slowing down now. Drones are in the production tab for ByuL. I got to say, there's a reason why that was such a bizarre attack and why I was so confused that he was doing it. And it's because it was so late. Normally, you see that attack as an all-in assault on the third base when you're at about 40 drones and you've got a massive Ling Baneling. And you can do things like drop in the main base at the same time, drop in the natural at the same time, and that would create an impossible situation for Classic. The thing is, ByuL had a massive income. He had 57 drones. So to go for it that late when he hasn't really been building up to it is a little bit of a surprising move, and it doesn't really fit in with that specific attack.
Never seen Queens kill a stalker so quick before.
Yeah, ByuL did float a lot of minerals behind all that, but I mean, he damaged Classic's economy. He's back up to 72 workers. He's got +1 melee, +1 carapace is on the way, but his lair still is only just about to finish. So ByuL here, he's got the money, he's got the raw basic units. He doesn't have any high-tech threatening Classic, but that's okay. As long as you can keep securing bases, a 5th base going down, Massling Bane is often all you need as a Zerg player.
Yeah, and apparently some people can make Mass Slowling Queen work too. It's Zanster, man.
Praise Lord Zanster.
Yeah. Alright, well, regardless of what ends up being the actual case, I do want to point out we got the Templar Archives on the way, so Archons possibly on deck. I would love to see Storms, but the fact that we have the double Robo so early, I really thought this was Classic who was going to get so aggressive. It would be Classic the one moving across the map, not the one playing defense against drop Banelings and drop Queens. Overlord going to drop some creep, help these ladies spread a little bit quicker through the middle of the map. Wow, that's a lot of tumors.
Not the tumor.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. It's tumors. It's like 8 of them, 9 of them. I can count.
I really want to see Classic go for Storm this game, man. I think that was the big mistake when he was playing against Dark. No Storm, nothing to deal with the mass Baneling. Of course, in that case, there were Hydras as well, so not having Storm was doubly hurting him. But once again, going for the 4th base, no Storm on the way, just getting charged, continuing that double Immortal production. I mean, Immortals are always a good unit to have in there because they're just such a powerful anchoring unit. But they're not going to dish out the damage quickly against the Zerglings and Banelings, not for their cost. They need the splash damage around them, which is why this is going to come down to the Archons. And with only a few Archons out, with an endless supply of Lingbane Ravager, I don't know if this is going to be enough.
I really like the idea of putting some more Banelings inside these Overlords. He might be thinking about the sentries, or maybe he's going to split these up in a moment and go for drops to the middle.
Counterattack on the south side from Classic is sick, but he somehow doesn't realize there's an army literally right outside his base. He needs to attack that Chargelord Archon. Yes, Chargelord Archon counterattack is so sick because his Chargelords are only effective away from the frontal fight, away from the Banelings, but his main army gets caught in the open. Nice recall, gets out of there before the overcharge lands on everything, and this gives him a chance to warp into that main base. But oh my god, 2 Spine Crawlers just waiting for it. The Chargelords of Classic not finding the damage they wanted. They are buying him a little bit of time, but his 4th base has gone down, so time is not really what he needs. Every second that goes by, actually things get better for ByuL, not Classic. So looks like ByuL is steadily forcing himself into that checkmate winning position.
I mean, you said earlier, Classic's had a pretty insane win record versus ByuL, but not today, and so this might not be too surprising to see ByuL bring this back 1-1, but Classic, I mean, he's not without cannons at home. He's got overcharges, he's got Archons. It's not like he's got nothing waiting for him. Like, he's got a pretty good army himself. +2 weapon upgrades is huge too, especially on these big splash units like Archons. I will go back to your point earlier though, where I do absolutely agree. I think Storm is better in every instance. Having Archons is cool because they can tank a little bit, but what do you need to tank if everything dies before it touches you with a couple of Storms?
Of course, easy for us to say being able to see everything, but you know, even for us, it's hard to say. Would he even survive to Storm? Stasis traps, are they going to do something here? Nice. Catches a bunch of Zerglings. He's going to block himself from mining, unfortunately.
Oh,
but
yeah.
nice charge or counterattack. Once again, running into the third of ByuL. Going to try and snipe down this hatchery. Little does he know there's so many more hatcheries. Even if he gets this one, it's not really enough damage to shut him down. And ByuL diving in again on the front. Yet another Stasis trap does freeze up some Zerglings. Classics hanging on surprisingly well here. The supply is getting a bit closer, but I think the problem right now is the income. Because Classic can't secure that 4th base, and ByuL has a 6th base going down right now, even though ByuL lost his 3rd there, with a 6th base going down, his income is going to stay up at that 2.5, 3,000 mineral a minute mark, whereas Classics is dipping down below 1,500 minerals a minute. So he just can't replenish his army anywhere near as well as the Zerg player.
Not to mention, we got that greater Spire morphing, and while this goes on, so Broodlord's possibly on deck. Classic's time to shine is kind of now. I don't think he's going to be able to make anti-air in response. He's going to have to really kill him before it gets to that point.
A couple of Archons do get surrounded. One of them does manage to survive there. The Zealot counterattack on the 3rd grabs not only 4 Chargelets, but also an Immortal, so very nice pickups there. Of course, that Greater Spire is now on the way. Corruptors are building. Classic needs to get more damage done now. He needs to force these trades before the Broodlords are out. And somehow, ByuL's army actually looks quite a bit smaller. ByuL actually cancels his 6th base towards the middle there. Tries to re-expand towards the south. Suddenly ByuL's answer to this army is looking a bit in doubt. There's only 3 Archons here providing splash.
I mean, the problem still is, when Broodlords come out, how much here actually shoots up? Like nothing. He recalls back home, wants to keep that army alive. But yeah, so this gives ByuL time to even squeeze out 1 or 2 Broodlords even. 3, 5, however many he wants, but the point is, Classic's army is not a great anti-air army.
Does have a Stargate, a couple of Void Rays. Might actually be the addition he needs. You know, there are Queens in there as well though, which can with Transfuse heal those Broodlords while providing anti-air. And, I mean, this is a pretty big Protoss army right now. He is up about 20 army supply. The first Broodlords are finishing up, though. That's going to add a lot to this. They're going to waste the Zealot charge. That's going to really buffer. It's going to allow the Banelings to roll into the Archons. Classic now sees what he's up against. What will his response be? He's backing off for now.
Does he have Blink?
Still no 4th base for Classic. He's got no money to work with.
And yet he's going to throw down a Fleet Beacon. He's got no Blink, no money to work with. I don't know. Like, he's going to squeeze out maybe 1 or 2 Tempests, and I guess that's kind of cool because there's not that much anti-air for ByuL. It's mostly in those Queens.
Okay, Classic here is doing the obvious maneuver and trying to buy time by counterattacking. But it's been spotted, and ByuL is already moving to stop it. Classic needs to not overextend. I love that his mothership's going
like
up here with the Zealots.
Yo,
yeah, he's just trying to buy time. This is really smart.
No, I mean, it's literally bait. The Stasis Trap, he wants him to run into it with the Lings and the Banelings and try and catch his Zealots. I think that's why he stopped there and waited for so long. But the Stasis Trap not going to get used, so he's going to just take those Zealots into the base, look for a kill. The hatchery should go down pretty quick, and a recall right afterwards would not be too bad.
That's really sloppy from ByuL to let that happen. ByuL saw it coming, spotted it twice on the map, and still was not able to defend that hatchery. War Prism also moving in to threaten the main base. You know, this is nice for Classic, but because he has so little mineral income, he can't afford to just waste his income. Like, warping in these Zealots in the main, that's it. You can't warp in any more harassment than that. You've spent the last of your money on 3 Tempests. You're desperately trying to buy time to get them out. But he's got to try and save these Zealots, pick them up with that War Prism. You can't afford to throw away units at this point.
I think he was thinking that too, but something else took priority for him, and I didn't really see much else going on the map. Some Banelings over here is a little bit spooky, I guess. Broodlords will still get Shrek'd in the air, but those Tempests are still so far away. Even when they complete, they have to actually walk here.
There's a Viper there as well as a few Corruptors, so this is going to be pretty tough for ByuL to actually engage. Ooh, catches an Archon for free at the front. Very nice. Starting to already siege down another Archon. Not the best engagement angle for Classic. Classic cancels his Nexus. He says, all right, just put everything into my army right now.
Okay, interesting recall. He lost that Oracle. No Revelation tags is going to make using the Tempests very difficult.
Absolutely. Tempests are coming forward there. Oh, nice abducts. Those Vipers doing their job very well. Two Tempests get shot down. That really is the anti-Broodlord contingent of Classic's army getting whittled down very quickly. The Archons are starting to fall as well. Even the Ling Bane is such a threat now.
The Transfuse is keeping those Broodlords alive. I mean, these Tempests aren't enough to one-shot them down, so he sneaks in those Transfuses. I mean, I don't know if he's out of juice. No, he keeps that Broodlord alive once again. These things have died like 4 times over.
The Immortals, the Archons, they are desperately pushing their way forward, but there's so few units left that shoot up with the Transfuse. It looks like these Broodlords are standing strong, but now the Immortals just walk on top, blast the Queens down. The Archons and Stalkers going to try to focus down these Broodlords, but it's a desperate battle.
I think the Transfuse is just enough. The Archon goes down. A couple of Stalkers remain. They don't have Blink. This is not nearly as desperate as when we saw it versus Zest earlier today. This is actually... ByuL totally has this. He's dancing his Corruptors.
ByuL's dancing the Corruptors, giving him the old jellyfish wiggle. The BM Broodlord morph on top of his army, saying, "Get out of my game, Classic. This is over, man. Just leave the game." Classic here with this massive Immortal army. Unfortunately, not the units that he needs right now.
I mean, Immortal skill building's pretty quick, but I'm sure their base strength goes in favor of Classic anyways. Lings throw themselves at the Immortals a little bit effortlessly, but also die for nothing, so that kind of sucks too. He's actually bringing the Broodlords home. He's really scared of these Immortals. I don't blame him, but Drone Pull, Ling Pull, see if he can get us around.
This game's getting a little bit silly right now, of course. ByuL has got money to work with. He's got Broodlords in the sky. Classic has no money, no production right now. Very little, at least. And is going to be able to shut this down eventually. Still has a mining base up in the north. Still has this rebuilt third base in the bottom center, building mining as well. Broodlords are going to make their way back. There is a grand total of 14 of them. These Immortals living up to their namesake and giving a good account of themselves before they die. But in the end, they will fall. All good things must come to an end. The Broodlings come down. The last Immortals die, and Classic, will he tap out? Nope, he's going to micro for a few more seconds before he gives up.
Well, that's stubbornness for you.
Well, let's keep in mind, if ByuL wasn't being, I don't know, being BM, that's the kind way of saying it. Other words were popping into my mind. And if he just built Zerglings and actually killed him, rather than, you know, making 15 Broodlords on top of his army, this game would be over. I'm hoping that Classic here is still in a good mindset and isn't letting himself get tilted by this loss, because, you know, as long as he's just like, okay, let's just stay in the game and think about my strategy, think about what went wrong in this game, really process that loss, and start coming up with a plan for that next game. This is actually a decent tactical choice to say, yeah, just stay in the game a bit longer. Because when you finish the game, you've got refs saying, okay, it's this map, host up, we got to get going, we got to start it, you know, blah, 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 stream schedule. So sometimes as a pro player, you do just want to drag out a game you've already lost, specifically to give yourself a little bit more time to just think about your plan going into the next map.
I wonder for him as well, how much of this is like the audacity of this guy beating me. He can never beat me. Beat me one time. Today, it was lucky. It will never happen again. Then he loses to ByuL, like GG. It's a tough 2 letters to type, and I don't blame him.
GG. Fantasy timing does come on out there in the end. It is tied up 1-1. What a good way to end today's stream with a final deciding match. A single map to choose who will be going through to that round of 8 in second place in this group and who won't. Of course, to give you guys a little bit of a roundup so far, we've already seen Innovation, Stats, Sue, Trust, Dark, and Maru all secure their spots. Right now, it is between Classic and ByuL here, and also the other match is between Beyond and Iasonu, who he's playing in his second match. Iasonu actually took down Solar.
Yeah, what?
2-1.
We talked Solar up way too much, man.
He played really well against Maru in that first series, but Maru was on fire. Maru went on to defeat Beyond 2-1. So this really is Maru's day. So I don't know, Solar getting upset there by IA. IA pulling a very impressive win. If IA can take even a map off Beyond here, I think this is like really just says something about his skill. If he can beat Beyond in that match, oh man, that would be impressive.
No, it was a very convincing 2-0 in the favor of BN when we said earlier. I would be truly actually impressed if IA brought it back.
Well, we are going to be going into the perfect map to finish it on. The infamous Daybreak. We are going into map number 3, guys, and spawning here in the top right-hand side of the map. Our blue Zerg representative. It is ByuL.
And it's at the bottom left, the red Protoss Classic. Swap scores around. Sorry about that, folks.
Once again, the 12 pool is coming out. You know, this has become such an art form. Remember that last game, 12 pool sees the probe that has scouted it on such a small map, and he just only built 2 Zerglings. And it actually worked out really well. Classic kind of overcommitted maybe slightly to his counter aggression. Didn't really get the damage that he wanted. It's not like he was massively behind, but it didn't work out too well for him. So very interesting to see that. And oh man, Classic's going to go Nexus first. Oh, no probe scout Nexus first. This is the worst possible situation for Classic.
Well, it only is if he actually commits to all 6 lings, though, right? And okay, yeah, he's going to make.
Well, he definitely will this time because you know that I'm pretty sure that was a reaction to the probe scout. Like this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's kind of a mad build the way he did it.
This is borderline a build counter loss, because I mean the problem here is there's no reason for Classic to ever see in time to have the money to build a wall. Like maybe if he sees this like within the right away moment that these come out, he can cancel the Nexus, pull a probe down, wall it off.
This is a big map, so he can still do this. This probe here, if it can buy a bit of time, that'll be great as well. He'll also leave that on the watchtower. He'll see how many more guys are coming. Yep, cancels 1 gas in the main base. He's got to stop probe production now, and he's got to get down another gateway, I believe. Looks like he's actually going to go for the chrono boosting the Zealot option. Okay, this is one way you can play it. So he's going to chrono boost the Zealot, pull a lot of probes to fight these first 6 or 8 Zerglings, and just try and hold the wall here.
Even then, just pulling the probes, that's so much economic damage done already.
He needs to get them out of there. Those probes need to pull back. He needs to pull more probes if he wants to defend this pylon. Ooh, okay, so he's going to use the choke point. He's going to lose a lot of probes here in this engagement, but he's actually continuing to build probes 2 at a time. Yeah, as I said there, if he wanted to take that fight, he needed to pull more probes. A slight misjudgment by Classic does put him down 2 workers here, but a decent hold. He's by no means out of this game. He's killed almost all of the Zerglings. There is only 5 left, but oh, nice micro from ByuL is going to tag one of those probes, getting another one very low as well. But wasting more and more mining time. While Classic is building 2 probes at a time, Queens are coming out at home for ByuL. And now he's in a very good position.
There's another problem here for Classic, though. Because he had pulled so many with probes, nothing was actually on gas mining. So there's no adept that starts up right away. There's no mothership core. He has no gas to actually build anything with. The single adept, excuse me, that's the one thing he can afford, I guess. But that's it. Like, his tech is severely delayed through this. His warp gate doesn't even start yet. There's so much that he gets screwed for through this attack beyond what is just like a couple of probes killed. But again, I can go over that graph, guys, too, to show you just exactly that spike of a lead beyond, or ByuL, excuse me, gets.
I really think if Classic pulled a few more probes after the initial wave, he would have been able to hold that much cleaner. You know, losing so many probes, up to 10 total now, it means that this this tech disadvantage, it really is a massive one. If he was ahead in economy, 4 or 5 workers, this would be okay. But now he's only just starting warp gate research. His tech has not begun yet. He's just focusing on chrono boosting out those workers. His adepts finally moving out across this map to try and put on the hurt.
It's going to be hard to do, though. Ling's coming out. Queen's being finished up here in just a moment.
This is the tournament of 12 pool, man. This matchup, we've seen like 8 12 pools today from Zerg players, and it has almost never put them massively behind. And this is kind of crazy to me because I do feel like on some of these bigger maps, it's just not that reliable. On the smaller maps like Overgrowth, I'm all for it. But here on these bigger maps, I feel like it does rely in part on the Protoss players making a few small mistakes. But you got to hand it to these Zerg players. They are executing it so well. They're choosing their fights just right. ByuL took the fights at the right moment, on the right angles, wasted a lot of mining time, and killed so many of those probes, wasted so much mining time in the follow-up as well.
Well, with Resonating Glaives coming out, the Adepts gain a little bit of power. No Forge in sight, however, and more importantly, nothing close to really like a Robo going down. I mean, I'm all for power of Adepts, but they become really powerful, you know, with a War Prism.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to give Classic a solid base to defend Zerglings, take his third base. He's going to go for an Overcharge, try to pick up an Overlord, try and get whatever little edge he can. However, that means there's going to be even less energy to help defend the third. You know, one of the big weaknesses here that Classic has is he couldn't scout the Zergling speed timing. So ByuL was incredibly greedy in the follow-up. And yet Classic here is sat at home with his Adepts because he had no idea when Zergling speed was going to finish. He didn't want to risk getting surrounded. Right now, 2 Stargates going down behind this. Classic gonna play with a very late third base. And I feel like against a ByuL who's already on 53 workers, oh, that might not be the best decision.
Yeah, I don't know. The double Stargate I find really interesting because I feel like it's not too late to do Phoenix, but it kind of is getting to that point. So if he opens with an Oracle and then goes into Phoenix, you're like, well, cool, you're starting your Phoenixes around like the 7-minute mark. That's not great.
Well, so everything's delayed for both sides because of those slowed openings, but not by that much. Oh, man. He's gonna... Okay, that Shade got out early enough that I think he will be able to evacuate most of these Adepts into that natural, but now it's only a matter of time till the Zerglings get up here. Oh, these Adepts need to get behind those minerals. Classic, a little bit too slow to get out of there. He's going to dive into that third. He's got to find some worker kills. Getting a little bit of lost mining time, but this is not really enough. The Mothership comes in here. It wants to save those Adepts. He's going to get 3 of them out there on very low hit points. Now he's moving down to take that third base. He's starting up Phoenix production, but he's going to need to make more and more Adepts to defend this base. +1 melee is on the way. There's a lot of drones out for ByuL. He's on a big 60 drone economy. He's got a macro hatch finish. ByuL can drop a 4th base. He can start Baneling speed in the near future. He is in the driver's seat. And right now, it is all on him to kind of give Classic some openings.
Well, a little bit of one here. There's not that many overcharges. They were all burned earlier, so focuses on the one pylon, realizing that's going to be the case. The Adepts don't come back home to defend.
There
he actually goes across the map.
Yeah, I don't like ByuL committing to that pylon. Lost a lot of Zerglings for free, but just a few Zerglings, and it's not the end of the world. These Adepts being very careful from Classic. I love this maneuver. He's going to grab a Queen with his Phoenix. His Adepts here just going to be a little bit careful. They know if they run into Banelings, they will be in trouble. Right now, there's not many Banelings here for ByuL. He's got so many Queens to help back all this up.
Spore Caller is in a bit of a funny spot, but I guess it's still by the hatchery at least.
Does provide an anchor for those Queens against the Phoenix. He's going to be going up to 8 Phoenix. He's got +1 flyer attack on the way. Looks like he wants to be going for those carriers once more. And interestingly, ByuL this time around is going to go for Hydralisks. However, doesn't have any upgrades for those Hydras. I think if he's aiming to bust through, he really should be going like Carapace upgrades, maybe double Evo, if the game drags on long enough. But hey, if he just aims to hit a very fast Hydra timing, +1 range will do. And these Queens spreading a bit of creep. The Phoenix looking for some pickups. If they can catch those Queens away from the spores, that'll be a great start to this. Really wants to catch these Hydras as they're popping out as well. So if you can get rid of the mobile anti-air now, it's going to be much easier. Only 1 spore once again. This is a big opening here. Classic did massive damage last time he found a base this undefended. Pulls back his weak Phoenix as well. Starts to pick up all the drones, blasting them down. Okay. Very nice damage there.
Once those shields come back up, he may go back because he saw the Overlords go to the main. Not sure, bait or accidental. Overseer also going to get picked off by the Phoenix.
You know, I really want to see Classic change it up. Don't just rush to carriers. Know that you were a bit behind this game earlier on, and maybe just get Storm out here. Maybe like really focus on that ground battle, because I feel like after getting that damage, ByuL is almost forced to like keep going crazily aggressive here to try and get some damage in. But even as I say that, ByuL, he's got a 4th base finishing. He's dropping that 2nd Evo chamber I was talking about. It looks like he may want to go for the double upgrade mass Hydra delayed push as there's only a few carriers out on the map. There's Phoenix continuing to find damage. Forge is on the way as well as a 3rd Stargate and a Fleet Beacon. Looks like it will be that same sort of build that he did in Game 1 on Varnian. Classic is really resurrecting himself in this game. I thought he was really screwed earlier on, but now, look at that units lost tab. It's looking really, in his favor. Grabs a Hydralisk, grabbing some Overlords out here. Still only once more in this main base.
Oh, God.
Just keeps underestimating the power of Phoenix here.
Well, his high score for Overlord's last game was 9, I think, at the end of it. So we'll see if we can beat that. He's already up to 6 plus 2 Overseers. Technically 7, I guess. But yeah, we're going towards carriers. We're going to see that late in game.
And melee upgrades. That's the wrong upgrade for sure. If you're going Hydralisks, you're aiming to fight the carriers head on. If you're going melee, you need to stop building Hydras and you need to swap into a counter-attack focused playstyle where you don't even aim to fight the Phoenix. So I feel like ByuL here is getting his upgrades a little bit muddled. Maybe being a little bit unclear on how he wants to fight this. We saw it on Varney where he was kind of trying to fight the air army, but at the same time trying to counterattack, and wasn't really clear in how he wanted to engage them. So I'm hoping that ByuL, he's in a stronger position this game than he was in Varney. Maybe he can find a way to make this work. Maybe he can teach us something.
You said it best, though, Peg. Like, it really is like kill them before they get to that point. 3 carriers, a couple of adepts, totally manageable. This is actually a phase of the game where ByuL could take a pretty decent fight, despite the fact that there's a massive tier difference in units. Let's also not forget, Classic Supply is not exactly 96 Army. It's more like 76 Army. So much of it's tied up in these Phoenix, which may or may not be useful. Useful in
and the
small
Hydra
packs,
Reinforce gets over here as well. Classic saw this push way too late. He's still relying on that mass adept. You are absolutely right. I think if he spreads these adepts out and engages with the carriers at the same time, he can do it. There is a mothership here as well. He's going to try and focus down. Oh, just a few Hydras on the edge there. Here we go. I think Classic's going to shade on top. That mothership is about to finish. He's warping in more adepts. Here he goes. He's going to dive on in here. No, doesn't commit just yet. He's looking for that engage, though. He wants to secure that 4th base. This army of ByuL will not be getting better with time. But Classics, he's actually stopped carrier production. He's building more Phoenix right now. He knows that holding this push is the most important part of the game right now.
41 Hydralisks is a hell of a lot of Hydralisks. There's only 3 carriers. The Phoenixes can probably, with their energy that they have, pick up half that Hydralisk army, but I don't even know if they can kill them in that
31 adepts as well, so I mean, it all comes down to can he micro these adepts well enough? If he can shade them in a huge spread where the banelings are minimized, that'll be good, but I don't know if he's really able to do that. Oh, wow, that's a lot of probes going down.
Plus
Classic
the base.
now, stuck with this one big army. Oh, the adepts, they're all clumped up! The banelings get massive hits! He loses almost all of them. Oh man, the lifts are good on these Phoenix. It's starting to shred some of the Hydras, but a bit too little too late. The panic through from Classic. Oh man.
Yo, what's so terrible there too is he killed so many of the interceptors before the fight actually began. So it wasn't like he was wildly shooting left, right, up, down, center. Like, he pretty much took care of business before the fight started. Taking care of business every day.
Beautiful engagement. Yo, rushes through. And even though he gets repelled in the end, I mean, ByuL can just pull back. He's got a big 5 base economy. And what's Classic for right now? He's got almost no mining.
Well, so that's what's scary, though. This did cost ByuL a lot of money to make this happen. The resources lost almost dead even, but he lost so much that first way through. But looks like he'll get this mothership. There's not enough energy left. Pig, the group curse is real. I'm telling you, man. GG! ByuL's gonna finish 2nd place in the group.
That is like one of those end of the day of a long tournament day games where ByuL's ahead and then Classic somehow back in it, but then all of his adepts just get wrecked by those banelings. And it turns upside down. I mean, yeah, that was insane. It's not very often you see 45 Hydras beat an army of carriers, Phoenix, and adepts that I think actually outnumbered them at that point. Like, that was an insane battle, but so obviously both players are not too familiar with that.
The adepts for sure. That was a big mistake with the banelings. But the carriers were only 3. Like, that was the perfect time for ByuL to get in there. You can totally take on 3 carriers, like, easily with those numbers. It's when there's, like, 9 and above that the carriers just become literally impossible to deal with for some people. Just a hard roadblock, but at the end of the day, I think it doesn't matter because, you know what? There was the curse, man. It wasn't even in their control. They didn't even know it. ByuL was destined to win that game.
You know, that's what I personally as well. I love when competitive hopes and dreams are boiled down to
Luck.
arbitrary curses named by people on the internet that talk about video games as well, Graham. Yeah.
Anyways, Pig, it was a blast casting with you, man. Thanks for joining me.
It's been a good day, man. We had a lot of awesome games. Yeah.
We got spoiled. The start of the day was like the best game. Zest, Lucira, WTF, man. That was like the greatest. That was the greatest whirlwind base trade.
Zest Lenok. Yeah,
or Lenok, excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, the greatest like whirlwind base trade. Come down to like 3 units. He should have won. He should have lost. Like
the changeling walls, the
yeah,
the hidden base next to the drone and stuff. Like, it's like everything was insane that game, man.
And I thought, you know what, the day wouldn't get better than that. But we had some really good games. We really did. So I hope you guys enjoyed our casting. I hope you enjoyed our coverage. Do you want to give some, I guess, final shout-outs for yourself before we take off?
Yeah, just, apologies, of course, for the quality going down as the day went on. We were here on stream for about 11 hours. We were ready an hour or two before that as well. So we've been here for about 12 hours. There's been massive downtime, which has been really dragging out our endurance. I'm a bit under the weather, but, we have loved the games. We loved you guys watching. Thank you very much for the support. Good to see IEM doing this event in Korea. Of course, the next couple of days are going to be a lot of fun. They're going to be very action-packed. So thank you for having us. If you want, you guys can follow me on Twitch and Twitter, x5_pig. But yeah, thanks for casting.